Welcome to Spectrum News at 10. I am Emedion James, coming to you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at today's major headlines. President Tinubu approves immediate reconstruction of 3 federal roads in Niger. INEC fixed January 16, 2027 for presidential elections and February 6, 2027 for governorship. Plus, Green Party wins Gorton and Denton by-election in UK. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. Many thanks for staying tuned. First in the news this morning is that President Bola Tinubu has approved the immediate reconstruction of 3 federal roads in Niger State and the extension of a Boduboni Road to connect with East-West Road in Rivers State. The President gave the approval during a meeting with the Minister of Works, David Umahi. The 3-road project in Niger State are expected to be reconstructed using reinforced congregate pavement to ensure durability and long-term value. There include Mukwa Bida Road, 120 km, Mukwa Makari Road, 63 km, and Bida Lagbata Road, 123.5 km. Reports say the extension of the Boduboni Road to connect with East-West Road will be executed on dual carriageway capacity. It is also expected to get constructed with concrete pavement and equipped with solar-powered street lighting. In the meantime, the presidency has dismissed allegations by opposition parties that President Bola Tinubu is seeking to undermine Nigeria's democracy through the newly signed Electoral Act 2026, describing the claims as restless. In a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the presidency said some opposition figures led by the African Democratic Congress and the New Nigeria People's Party had gathered in Abuja to make what it termed unfounded allegations against the president and the APC-led federal government. The presidency accused the opposition, particularly the ADC, of turning irresponsible political statement into an art form, all in a bid to attract headlines and mislead the public. It further alleged that the opposition had waged a relentless war of disinformation against the National Assembly and the administration, making false accusations in a bid to impose their will on Nigerians and the legislature. Reports say the reaction follows a press conference in Abuja where leaders of the ADC and NNPP called on the National Assembly to begin a fresh amendment process of the Electoral Act 2026. Speaking on behalf of the opposition, NNPP National Chairman Ajuji Ahmed urged lawmakers to expunge what he described as objectionable provisions in the law, which was recently passed by the National Assembly and assented to by President Tinubu on February 18. On electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has revised a timetable for the 2027 general election, moving the presidential and National Assembly polls to January and the governorship and state assembly elections to February. In a statement, the National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Mohammed Haruna, said the Commission approved a revised timetable and schedule of activities following changes in the electoral law. INEC had earlier fixed Saturday, February 20, 2027 for the presidential and National Assembly elections and Saturday, March 6, 2027 for the governorship and state houses of assembly elections under the Electoral Act 2022. However, the Commission said the repeal of the Electoral Act 2022 and the enactment of the Electoral Act 2026 necessitated a review of the schedule. According to INEC, the presidential and National Assembly elections will now hold on Saturday, January 16, 2027, while the governorship and state houses of assembly elections will take place on Saturday, February 6, 2027. The Commission also outlined key milestones in a revised timetable. It stated that the conduct of party primaries, including the resolution of disputes arising from them, will commence on April 23, 2026 and end on May 30, 2026. It added that presidential and National Assembly campaigns will commence on 19 August 2026. Governorship and state houses of assembly campaigns will commence on 9 September 2026. The Commission reminded political parties that campaigns must end 24 hours before Election Day and warned that it would strictly enforce compliance. Away from that, the federal government has taken a major step towards expanding financial inclusion with the inauguration of the board of the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, Credicorp. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who performed the ceremony at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, emphasized that access to consumer credit is critical to the country's ambition of becoming a $1 trillion economy. Shettima said Credicorp was established by the President Tinubu administration in April 2024 to build a trusted credit infrastructure, provide catalytic capital to lower borrowing costs, and help Nigerians overcome long-standing cultural resistance to credit. According to the Vice President, improving the quality of life of Nigerians requires closing the gap between access to capital and human dignity. In the meantime, the federal government has directed all ministries, departments and agencies, MDAS, to strictly comply with the medium-term expenditure framework. This is part of efforts to strengthen budget credibility and promote fiscal discipline across public institutions. The directive was issued by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, during a courtesy visit by the Fiscal Responsibility Commission in Abuja. He stressed that adherence to the framework was essential for maintaining accountability in public spending and ensuring a stable fiscal environment. According to him, adherence is critical for a coordinated and disciplined fiscal environment supporting economic growth. Akume further explained that the framework helps government spending reflect national priorities and development goals. Let's move now to the Red Chambers, where the Senate has asked the federal government to return to the old payment system that allowed ministries, departments and agencies, MDAS, to pay contractors directly, saying the current centralized arrangement is flawed. The call was made by the Senate Committee on Finance during an interactive session with the federal government economic management team led by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. Other officials at the meeting included the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Atiku Bagudu, the Accountant General of the Federation, Dr. Shamseldin Ogunjimi, and the Chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Service, Zak Adedeji. Chairman of the committee, Senator Sani Musa, said submissions made by heads of agencies during ongoing budget defense sessions showed that the impact of government policies was not being felt by ordinary Nigerians. He said the envelope budgeting system should be replaced with a priority-based model. He added that the centralized system of payments, which has led to many contractors remaining unpaid for projects already executed, should be replaced with the old system which allows the various MDAs to pay contractors they gave jobs to. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Senate Committee on the Southeast Development Commission, Senator Orji Kalu, has clarified that the proposed 25 billion naira increase to the Commission's 140 billion naira 2026 budget was initiated by the committee, not Southeast governors. Presenting the committee's report to the Senate Committee on Preparations, Kalu said the additional 25 billion naira was to support impactful development projects across the region, adding that 5 billion naira was proposed for each of the states: Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo. The committee chairman noted that the commission received minimal funding in 2025, leading to the suspension of key projects. He also added that the augmentation would enable the SEDC to accelerate projects in the health and education sectors in line with the federal government's renewed hope agenda. Let's move now to Africa, where Zambia has halted a proposed $1 billion US health funding agreement over clauses tying aid to mining partnerships, joining Zimbabwe and Kenya in pushing back against what African nations view as sovereignty-compromising conditions. The 5-year deal with Zambia, intended to combat HIV and AIDS and malaria, stalled after the U.S. linked funding to a bilateral compact involving copper and cobalt assets. Reports say the deal would slash U.S. funding to life-saving programs while prioritizing mining cooperation over Zambians with HIV. On the foreign scene, the Green Party has won the Gorton and Denton by-election. This is their first ever Westminster by-election win. The Greens' Hannah Spencer becomes the new Member of Parliament, with Reform in second place and Labour pushed into third. In a victory speech, Spencer vows to fight for people who feel left behind. Earlier, election observers said they witnessed concerningly high levels of family voting at polling stations, a claim disputed by the council. So on the foreign scene, Raman Jago, a socialist and associate of Grammy-winning singer Burna Boy, has confirmed that the singer has converted to Islam. Burna Boy, who comes from a Christian background, sparked reports of his conversion to Islam after stating in the podcast a few weeks ago that he embraced Islam at some point in pursuit of truth. Recently, his associate Raman Jago shared a video of Burna Boy praising Allah with himself and other men in what looked like a bar on his X handle with the caption, Allahu Akbar. He urged Allah in a post to make the singer's journey with Islam easy for him. Still to come in the news. Crystal Palace moves into UEFA Conference League last 16 with 2 wins over Zwick's Monster. Stay tuned for details of this in just a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now let's go over to the concluding parts of today's stories. On our business news, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has found that maintenance lapses account for between 10 and 15% of energy waste in factories, while most facilities lack sub-metering systems needed to track consumption. The findings emerged from a cleaner production assessment conducted in 42 industries across 4 geopolitical zones and presented at the National Stakeholder Sensitization Workshop on ISO 5001 and 14001 standards in Lagos. The assessment carried out under the GEF UNIDO Industrial Energy Efficiency and Resource Efficiency Cleaner Production Project covered sectors including food and beverages, basic metals, wood and wood products, textile and leather, and petrochemicals. Presenting the technical findings, the IEE and RECEP national expert Obafemi Adejomo said the study exposed a wide gap between current practices and global best standards. He noted that the study uncovered significant industrial energy efficiency gap across the country. On a health news, the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has told the Federal High Court in Lagos that the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control is fully empowered by law to enforce the ban on production and sale of alcoholic beverages in sachet, PET bottles and glass bottles below 200 millimeters. In a counterfeit in response to a suit instituted by the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, the minister maintained that NAFDAC regulatory and enforcement powers are clearly provided for under its establishing law. The ministry, through its lawyer, Jumoke Faleye, stated that it does not and has never interfered in operations of NAFDAC, stressing that it is not an enforcement agency of the federal government. It added that it lacks the legal authority to direct or restrain the agency in the discharge of its statutory duties. Still in health, the chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buwa, says Nigeria's new National Drug Control Master Plan, NDCMP, 2026 to 2030 will strengthen efforts to combat drug abuse and trafficking across the country. He made the remarks at the agency's national headquarters in Abuja while receiving the final evaluation report on the 2021 to 2025 drug control strategy. Marwa said the new plan was designed to improve existing measures and address identified gaps in drug control operations. According to him, the National Drug Control Master Plan 2026 to 2030 will strengthen Nigeria's ongoing drug control efforts, particularly in areas affecting public health and national security. Let's move now to sports, where Crystal Palace moved into the UEFA Conference League last 16 with a 2-0 win over Zurich's Monster, while Fiorentina survived a huge scare against Jalolinian Białystok. Palace were held to a disappointing 1-1 draw by Bosnian side Juices of their playoff the last week. Glasnow's team avoided an embarrassing exit thanks to goal from Maxis Lacroix and Ivan Gussat in the playoff second leg at Selhurst Park. Their first European knockout tie in the main stage of the tournament, Palace's 3-1 aggregate victory eased the pressure on the under-fire Glasgow. Still in sport, Inter Miami beats Independiente del Valle 2-1 in Puerto Rico, with goals from Santiago Morales and and Lionel Messi to conclude the team's pre-season friendly tour. The friendly, originally scheduled for February 13, was postponed after Messi suffered a hamstring injury in a previous pre-season match. Inter Miami, in collaboration with the event promoter and government of Puerto Rico, opted to reschedule the event for a later date to best accommodate their situation. Messi, however, entered the pitch after halftime alongside regular starters like Rodrigo de Paul and Velasco Segovian. He scored from the penalty spot. On entertainment news, Nigerian screen icon Omotola Jalada has screened her debut feature film, Mother's Love, at the 34th edition of the Pan-African Film Festival in Los Angeles. In recent months, the actress and producer had premiered the project across multiple international platforms, including the Dubai International Film Festival, the Silicon Valley African Film Festival, the Toronto International Film Festival, and the Africa International Film Festival. The Lagos premiere of Mother's Love is scheduled for March 1st with a nationwide theatrical release set on March 6, 2026. The film tells the story of family, sacrifice, and the cost of love when power and fear collide. And that's all we have for you at this time. To ensure to follow us on social media, subscribe to YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 10. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.